Hello, underachievers! So, before we get into the video, quickly just saying, you know, I gotta promote my tour. I am going on tour so soon in the UK, and here are the dates. There are still some tickets left, but there are very few. So, if you want to see me in the UK, buy a ticket, I think that would work. But yeah, today we are going to be talking about trans things. There is a video called Do All Trans Teens Think the Same by Jubilee, which is a YouTube channel I watch a lot. I have not watched this video yet. I have no idea what it's going to be about, but I used to be a trans teen, so maybe I will have some input. I think maybe that I'm gonna like respond to the prompts and say like my opinion. I know I'm not a teenager, but let's just go.
I would date a cisgendered individual.
I mean, I am dating a cisgender individual. I feel the obvious answer for me is yes, I would. But there are a lot of trans people that prefer to date trans people and would not date cis people for their own reasons. Probably it's more comfortable to be with a trans person. You don't have to explain everything. Yeah, I mean, I'm not T for T, but there are a lot of trans people that are T for T, which means trans for trans, which means they don't date cis people.
Like, I've dated cis people in the past, and like every time, like especially because like I'm a female at birth and non-binary, like if I'm dating like a man, he typically just sees me as a woman. Like I saw a TikTok literally yesterday. It was like, have y'all ever been with a they them woman? I was like, that is so like no.
That's grim. I know a lot of people that have dated cis men that identify as straight, and it's just not ended great, because a lot of the time, and this obviously is not in every case, every person is different, and I'm not going to speak on everybody's relationship, but just from what I've seen, a lot of the time, cis men dating non-binary people, they will not really see their partner as non-binary. They won't see their relationship as anything other than a straight relationship, purely because of, like, the bodies that are involved, and I guess, like, that must be really difficult. I've not had an experience like that, because, you know, I'm not non-binary, but I imagine that's very difficult. That kind of sucks, being with somebody that just does not see you as yourself.
If you can't see me as non-binary, I cannot be seen outside with you. Like with women that are cis, like it's more welcoming, but like people, like they perceive us as like a lesbian couple, and that's not really like what I'm trying to do.
Bruh, that sounds really difficult. I'm sorry. I was not dating as a teenager. That's a lie. I got with Corinne when I was 19. But as a younger teenager, I was not dating. I was, like, incredibly uncomfortable with the idea of me being with anybody before I came out as trans, before I transitioned, before I started testosterone, because I knew that there was always that little inkling of being like, oh, what if this guy just sees me as a girl? With added weird things on top of it. Like, I could have never dated in school at all. I could have never dated any of the guys that went to my school. That sounds
At my age, boys kind of come into themselves and their desires, and it's just weird because they either want one thing or another thing, and usually, like, I'm subject to be fetishized. Like, some guys will, like, come at me and, like, be like, yeah, like, you're, like, the best of both worlds, and I'm like, girl, this is not Hannah Montana. Like, I am a girl.
Yeah, the best of both worlds. I never got that with Corey. Obviously, if I did, I would not be with him. But yeah, the whole best of both worlds idea is kind of gross. To me, personally, I'm sure that maybe there are some trans people that are just like, yeah, I'm the best of both worlds. That's cool for them. I do not see it like that. Yeah, I feel like there's an issue if you're dating somebody that maybe perceives that as a thing.
I've only been with one cis person.
Connor! I followed him for a while.
And it was a girl, and I feel like, if anything, girls are super understanding, but I'm still open to a cis person. Like, it depends on the person, really. Like, I'm not looking for a trans person, I'm just looking for a good person.
You should be able to medically transition before adulthood.
Ooh, curious, controversial. My opinion on this, I feel, makes sense. My opinion is that it depends entirely on the person. Like, I think hormone blockers should be available for trans kids because they are reversible. You can start hormone blockers, be like, oh no, I changed my mind, I'm sorry, and then go off them, and you'll be absolutely fine. And then in terms of like testosterone, estrogen, surgery, I think that depends on the person. I don't think all trans people are the same. I don't think all people have like 100% figured out their identity by the time that they're 16, but like, I don't see an issue with a 16-year-old starting testosterone as long as, you know, there's been enough thought about it, you know? I'm not like a big fan of gatekeeping, but I do think it is important to, you know, when you're young, you've got a developing brain, you should, you know, have a proper think about what you want. I don't know, I just think we should treat trans people as individuals and not assume that they're all the same and that they all have the same experiences. I would have been ready to start testosterone when I was 16 if I had come out and I was in an accepting environment and a school school that was not terrible at that kind of stuff, I would have been happy to do that. I would have happily gone on hormone blockers. I honestly think my quality of life would have been improved drastically if I was able to start transitioning earlier, but you know, I couldn't because of the environment that I was in at school. It was not possible for me to come out. But like, if I had gone on hormone blockers and I didn't grow boobies, I would not have to spend that much money on getting my tits chopped off. I would not have to be so dysphoric for all my teenage years, so dysphoric that I wouldn't answer the phone, I wouldn't leave the house because I was so uncomfortable with myself. I just, you know, I just think we should take trans people seriously, regardless of how old they are. And of course, like, there's absolutely a chance that people can change their minds, and that's fine, but this is what I mean. I just think, you know, if you're gonna start testosterone, you just gotta be very sure that that's what you want. I don't think we should be giving, like, 12-year-olds testosterone. I don't think that, but, you know, in the UK it's 16, and I think that age kind of makes sense.
I'm dying to get on hormones, and I do agree that kids, like, should be able to get, like, hormones and go through HRT, but, like, there's also, like, a little part of me that's like, what if they end up changing their mind?
Like, when I was 13, I thought I was a trans man, and then I was like, nah. And then I was like, wait. So it was like, for me, it was just like a lot of like questioning and going through different identities until I found what felt right. And like at the point I'm at right now, like I don't even know if I want to go on like HRT. So if I would have went on that when I was like 13, I don't know. I don't think I would have regretted it, but it was like, I'm glad that I like internalized a lot of it and like went through it within myself.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I don't think a lot of people realize that a lot of the time when kids come out, it's not that they've just only realized that they're trans. They've only just realized that, hey, I want to be a boy, and then that day they decide to come out. For me, it took years to actually come out, and by the time that I had come out, I was 100% certain that like testosterone surgery was right for me. Yeah, you know, I mean, it is a difficult one. It's obviously a difficult one. It's a controversial one. Trans kids, I feel so bad for right now because the media is being so shitty about you. But yeah, I think there needs to be a decent amount of time for you to have thought about your identity, for you to have, you know, just considered everything before you start HRT.
My teachers are accepting of my pronouns.
I didn't come out in school.
I went to UCI for a quarter, and they were very understanding, and like they don't really like ask questions. But in high school, it was definitely a struggle because like my name was a different name on the roster, and then like I would have to explain. Especially like my Spanish teacher, she had like such like Catholic beliefs, and like she would pull me aside and like ask questions, and it was really sweet of her to like try to understand, but it was also hard for them to like remember like in class and stuff like that, so it was kind of a struggle.
They really did try to find a way to like make trans people feel a bit more comfortable in the school. Like right now I'm taking like a ballet and Pilates class, and I totally thought it was gonna be, oh, but you were like born male, so you have to do like masculine presenting stuff, which I was like really afraid of, but I'm so glad that they're like really accepting.
That's nice. That's really nice. Yeah, I didn't come out in school at all, and I would not have had a good experience if I did come out in school. I know that for a fact. There was a kid at my school that came out a few years after I left, and they did not have a good experience. That they you know, they asked the school chaplain if they'd go to hell if they came out, and he said yes. So that was not a vibe for me. I am glad that nowadays, at least in some places, this is more talked about and kids feel more comfortable to come out. I wish I could have had that, but I'm not gonna be all buck angel about it. I'm not gonna think that you need to go through the struggles that I went through just because I went through them. Yeah, I mean, that's really cool. I could not come out at a naval boarding school.
I go to UC Berkeley right now, and I get misgendered there like on a daily basis. Like, I will introduce myself to the teacher and I'll be like, I go by they, them pronouns, by the way, I'm non-binary, like, please respect my pronouns. And like within 2 times like that I'm in the classroom, they'll go back to using she, her pronouns, and like other classmates will also misgender me, and it gets just really mentally taxing at a point. And so I kind of just like stopped trying as much, because like it's just mentally exhausting having to realize like no one sees you as non-binary because you still have like feminine qualities about yourself.
That sucks. That's really difficult. Obviously, I have my experience with being a trans guy, and I feel like in a lot of ways it's more difficult using they, them pronouns for situations like this because a lot of people just don't understand how to use them. They don't want to use them. They just choose not to use them, and that must be really difficult. I feel like in the case of somebody that's not that aware of trans stuff, that doesn't really know many trans people, they would see a trans woman and she's wearing a dress, and they may not see her as a woman, but they see she's wearing a dress and think, oh, okay, she, her. Whereas like with non-binary people, you can't just look at somebody and know that they're non-binary. So even if it's like an unintentional misgendering, that's difficult.
I have come out more than once.
But they're all gonna go to strongly agree. Everybody comes out more than once. Oh.
I've come out multiple times, like not just like for my like trans experience, but for like my sexuality as well, because I came out as like pansexual, then I came out as bi.
Oh, yeah, no, I took this as like, I came out on Facebook, and then I also meet people in real life, and they ask me, and I come out to them. These people are talking about, I guess this person is talking about coming out as like one sexuality, then another gender. I guess that makes sense. I mean, I came out as non-binary first. I used to identify as non-binary and androsexual, which meant I was just into guys.
I kind of feel like I have to come out like every single day, just like with new people I meet in my life. Like I'm constantly having to be like, oh yeah, my name's Mandy, I'm non-binary, I go by they, them pronouns, please respect those pronouns, or this is not like a safe space for me.
Cisgender individuals do not understand my struggles.
This is interesting. I don't know. I don't think cis people are ever gonna understand the trans experience. Because they haven't experienced it.
Personally, my friends try to empathize, and I really appreciate that for them. But personally, I think that cis people take for granted, their gender euphoria. Getting ready in the morning and looking at yourself and having the absence of distress.
This is interesting. The gender euphoria thing, I understand it, I get it. I feel like it's used in very weird contexts. I wouldn't say that, like, cis people look in the mirror and get gender euphoria every day. I mean, like, maybe they do. I don't know, that's just a strange concept.
I try to think of just like the whole entire spectrum of just like cis people who are like identifying female, but for some reason their bodies present more masculine. I feel like they can have that sort of point of view that can help them sympathize and empathize for you more. It's all about like the spectrum and just how there's just so many nuances.
Life would be easier if I wasn't trans.
Yeah, I feel like most people are gonna say yeah. There are a lot of things in my life that would be way easier if I wasn't trans. Jesus, half the shit I went through would not have happened.
Yeah, I hate that I still think a lot of the time, like, I wonder what life would be like if I was cis, or I kind of wish I was cis. Like I know I wouldn't be where I am, and I wouldn't know almost anyone in my life if I wasn't trans, and if I didn't go through the struggles I went through.
Yeah, this is something I think about. I used to get asked the question a lot, like, if you could choose to be cis, would you do it? And the question confused me, because I'm like, do you mean choose to be a cis woman or a cis man? But yeah, I mean, I don't really care so much about it anymore. I spent so much of my life wishing that I wasn't trans, wishing that this didn't happen, that didn't happen, but, I am where I am in my life, not because of being trans, but, I wouldn't have met some people along the way, so there's no point me being upset about it anymore, and I think I'm kind of over that, but I was not when I was a teenager.
I hate that every week I have to, like, inject my hormones. Like, I get so angry that, like, cis people get it for free, and, like, it's just natural.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, and there's times where my insurance is being, like, annoying, and I can't get my hormones.
You got it in your body, like, I got it in a drawer.
Yeah, like, it's really, really hard, and, like, breaks me down, but I know that I wouldn't be who I am if I wasn't trans.
Yeah, just like bouncing off that, just the thought of like waking up and not having dysphoria about something, and like not trying on like 15 different shirts because my chest doesn't look flat enough, or like
that was a big thing. There are so many things about being trans that I completely forgot I experienced because I don't experience them now, but like I remember like I would never find an outfit that I could wear happily and comfortably. I was always so uncomfortable around people whenever I'd leave the house wearing an outfit. I just would not be happy because it didn't look flat enough, my hips looked too wide. Like that was horrible. I do not envy people that are going through that.
Stuff like that, I think it would genuinely make my life easier, but again, it's like I wouldn't meet the people that I have in my life, and I'm so grateful for them.
Hell yeah. So, that's the end of the video. What do you think about it? Do you agree with these trans teens? Do you agree with me? Do you not? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. But yeah, end of the video. Have a good day or don't. See you later, losers. I'm gonna keep smacking my beanbag.